to find his quote that he made us 2 days ago.
Hey, I had 2 hours, literally 2 hours.
Hey guys, what are your answers to this? Even though
you were crowdsourcing it too.
Well, I got nothing, so these are my original answers.
Oh, heaven forbid we get an original answer from John Young. It's not what we're here for.
Most people would ask for different, but okay.
Welcome. Look, do you like the fireworks?
I like your sweater.
Yeah, the sweater is pretty crazy.
That is nice.
A lot of activity going on there.
Yeah. Oh shit. I'm looking good. You are incredible. You've got an incredible rack in that.
I know.
So I'm in trouble next year. So 2 years ago, it was me, Chase, and Bill going through 2021 and what happened and blah, blah, blah. And then last year, I was like, oh, it could be cool to add like Brian Spin into this and, get an alternate or different or extra perspective. And then today I was like, I haven't had on my show before? John Young. I'm going to bring John Young onto this show. So then on this trend next year, there's going to be 6, then 7, then 8. Like it's
going to be a 12-hour show.
Yeah. That's my wife, just like we were like wrapping presents or whatever. And my wife goes, wrapping gifts. And my wife goes, oh, will you be long? And I was like,
Are these typically long shows?
Well, I mean, there's a shit ton of stuff to get through. We haven't even started and we're already 2 minutes in.
Well, it depends on if Bill goes the prior year or not either.
I kept it in this year this time.
I forgot about that. My favorite moment of the year was from 2 years.
Last year.
It was the prior year.
That really stuck with them.
Yeah, I would remember that as well. I almost said that in the instructions or whatever.
Before you start, look how good John's looking right now.
Yeah, what's
crystal
clear.
Do I look good?
Yeah,
crystal clear.
You have the same microphone though, right?
I have this. It's in the package. I haven't opened up the package. Spin has upgraded everybody.
Don't open up the package because I want the cutout angry. I want the break. I want is that his mic or the computer mic? I want that confusion forever. Like I just never want that to end.
You know, it's funny. I had no idea what anybody like. I just thought, I got animated sometimes. I don't watch I don't watch it back, right? And going through some of these podcasts, I was trying to hear back, like as far as my research for this show. It's the first time I ever heard my mic cut out whenever I got loud. So now I know it's happening, and I never knew that was happening until just like literally 2 hours ago.
Oh, yeah, it's amazing. And it was happening the other day when I was on and we were arguing about Vellner. It was happening. And I just was so confused. Like, I was just like, what's going on? Because it was just like, it's just like chop. I assumed that maybe Brian was muting you for being aggressive or something. Okay, so what I did, we're going to look back on the year that was, or that will have been was. And we're going to, I've given out some categories and we're going to award our best of for the year, basically. And there's some like, okay, maybe this actually matters. And then there's other that's just like pure, like what was funny as opposed to like which event ran really well. Now, so the first one that we're going to do is best programmed event. I wonder, would this be funny if I just like sprung this on you and just said, actually,
welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show, bitches. You've all been drawn in here.
I might have done this one wrong.
Yeah, I actually think I might have fucked it up by
what, you didn't call them tests?
Is that okay?
So okay, yeah, no, I did it right then. I did it right.
No, wait, why what way did you do it? Hands up who did event as in competition.
Is it the whole competition or just one event?
That's what I intended it to be, but I'm happy for you to...
now you're giving Boz fodder to go back to tests, so fucking stop right now.
Well, I just know that it annoys you. That's why I did it. I knew it would piss you off.
I just did what I thought was the best programmed workout of 2023.
Yeah.
The rule book defined it as calling it still tests. So
I'm just going to call them workouts. That's what they are.
They're events.
Okay.
At
Well,
a competition.
They're not.
how about Chase, Bill, and John go first, and because you all did events as in a workout, and me and Brian will go last because we did events as in what do you call it, like a competition. So Chase, you're up top. So do you want to start?
Yeah, I'll start off. My favorite event of the year that was programmed. I got it from the games. I picked this for a couple of reasons. One is that I love programmed events that on paper look very basic, borderline boring, and then when they unfold live, they're just a masterpiece. And Muscle Up Logs at the CrossFit Games was one of my favorite events programmed all year. Why? Because it was classic CrossFit in a sense of, I mean, we talked about .com for 2 hours with Michelle and Tonder yesterday, but it was just classic get to point A to point B with some weights and some heights, throw the bags over, do some muscle ups. But on the second half of that is really why I'm leading into it, is because I think this will be one of the last times for a while that we'll get to see events like this at the CrossFit Games. You can't do muscle up logs in the arena in Fort Worth, right? The outside venue of the CrossFit Games is something that makes the CrossFit Games what it is as far as unique competition. And
Sorry, John.
It won't be the same thing. So I'm going with Muscle Up Logs. It was one of my favorite ones of the year.
What, like, is it because is it that kind of future nostalgia thing that you don't think you'll see it for a while, or was there something about the actual workout that you were like, oh, this is perfect?
The workout itself is just great.
Okay.
Right? Muscle ups is a classic gymnastic movement at the CrossFit Games that everybody can do for 7 times 5 rounds. Moving weights from point A to point B can't get any more CrossFit, right? Move large logs, long distances quickly. Pick that bag up, throw it over the logs, and take it down the field. It was so simple, and I think it was one of the best events they've programmed in a long time. And it was just so basic. And
maybe not for the reasons that we thought, but it changed the course of the male games.
It was the most impactful event of the event.
Roman was not a fan of that event.
Yeah, probably the most impactful event of any CrossFit Games in history on the leaderboard. It like drastically changed everything. All right, Bill, what have you got?
You want to know what's messed up, dude? I did not pick that same one.
Okay.
But I picked something that was very similar to that. And in fact, when I see that one from the games, that one in the log muscle up from Rogue.
Mm-hmm.
Those two. When I look at the piece of those, the one that I liked the best was actually from Wadapalooza, and it was the rings and squats event. So it was 21 ring muscle ups, 21 back squats, 15 ring muscle ups, 15 front squats, 9 ring muscle ups, 9 overhead squats. Like my personal favorite events are gymnastic and weightlifting movements. I just think that they're super fun to do. And this particular one at Wadapalooza, it ended up being a lot of ring muscle ups, but they were smart about it, I think, where they had 21, 15, 9 for the men, then it went 15, 12, 9 for the women on the ring muscle up. So I think that they brought those to the right numbers for volume wise. And then the squat was the same weight all the way across. So it was 235 and 165 for all 3 of those lifts, which I thought was great. And I like when you come to events where it comes down to the last couple reps and then you're rolling the dice. Do you hold on to that bar? Because if you drop it, you went from like 2nd place to like 8th place.
And we saw multiple races in that event where that happened, where the person who got to the bar first did not win.
And the athletes really had to know their machine and what their capacity was and when to go. It was really fun. I really liked that event. Plus the stage was awesome too. So yeah, it was amazing. That was my favorite one.
That's a good
one.
That's
cool. Just 2 comments. Peter, the producer, is producing for Pedro. That's entirely accurate. And I am the real queen of hustle. I'd never call myself that though, because that's a bit contrived. John, what have you got?
Okay, mine is from quarterfinals. My favorite and y'all might disagree with me on this. But my favorite was the first event from quarterfinals, 23.1.
That was my backup.
It goes, was it really?
Yeah.
Okay, it was the first time they had 25-foot handstand walks where you had to go 25 feet, and it was in a very big volume. Like 9 times 25 is a lot for a lot of people. And if people who thought they were good at handstand walking quickly found out that they weren't as good as they thought that they were. And a lot of people, at least at my gym, I don't know how y'all's gym worked out, like that was their workout. It was like 10 minutes of handstand walking because they do 3 real quick, and then all of a sudden they couldn't go 25 foot unbroken anymore. But the front squats go down in weight. It's very pretty, 9, 15, 21 the whole way. And the gymnastics arguably got harder as you went on, and the front squats got lighter, even though the volume was more. And there was never a reason to stop. Like if you were doing this workout, if you were able to do all the movements, there's never a reason to stop. It's just how much do you want to push the envelope?
Covering up his actual face too.
I know. I was like, I can't not bring it up.
How much do you want to push your muscle fatigue envelope, and do you want to go to failure? And there were like a lot of the games athletes borderline went to failure on the 21 wall facing handstand push-ups. And it was just kind of a game changer, the wall facing handstand push-ups. I just liked everything about this workout. It was fun to do too. There were a lot of workouts like Rogue and the games that I considered, but they just weren't as pretty as this one. So it's like when you write it on paper, and it just felt like a full body workout. And I like workouts that are like lifting and gymnastics, like Bill said, but it's not really a cardio element is holding you up. It's muscle fatigue that's holding you up. And those are my favorite types of workouts. So that's why I picked that one.
The plates they use in that, they're weird, aren't they? They're weird plates to use in a. Why do they use them? Why do they not use like Rogue CrossFit Games ones? In the
pictures?
Yeah. Is that not weird?
I'm glad that's what you took away from my favorite workout, bro. I appreciate that.
Honestly, I want to say that I started thinking that as soon as you started talking, but I literally just, as I scrolled up, I was like, they're weird. Like, why did they not use the 2022 games plates?
That's a good
weird.
John,
sorry,
I like that event a lot. Like, the thing I just hated about that event was that it was programmed in quarterfinals.
Right.
Where did you want it to be programmed?
If that was in semifinals, it would be one of the best semifinal regional events ever programmed.
Man, well, I hope they reprogram it when I make semifinals because I'm not too bad at that workout.
There we go.
Yeah, you're right. That was a good pick.
If semifinals are still around in 2029, I guess we'll find. Right, Brian, what did you pick?
I'll be an old man by then. I'll be age group.
What did you pick as your event? And you meant it the way I meant it, as competition.
Yeah, so I did it right. I'm picking Crash Crucible.
Oh, we picked the same one.
Yeah.
Get freaking JR's dick out of y'all's mouth.
Yeah, that's how I feel about that too. Y'all are.
All right, you pick
support, but
on the spot, Chase. What would you pick better from an entire competition program?
An entire competition?
Yeah. Which was the best program competition?
Off the top of my head, which one did we give big marks this year to, Bill?
I was trying to think about that. I think actually
Wadapalooza. I really liked a lot of workouts from Wadapalooza, but they got screwed because of the weather because they had to change a couple events. But if you take away that, like I thought their programming as it played out was really, really good. I'm a big fan of Rogue, but it's biased, and the deadlift workout was trash. So
yeah, but all of the events have one where you're like, come on, that was a waste. You know, I mean, they all have that. So if you take that, if you throw that out, like I think Rogue, I mean, even with some of the changes there was pretty decent. I think we gave that one some pretty high marks actually. Wadapalooza, I think we did too. But it was just so early in the year.
The only thing about Wadapalooza was this like that strength gymnastic miss.
Yeah.
But all the other ones were fairly good. I mean, sorry, Brian.
Yeah.
Keep going.
No, I mean,
Brian's sitting here thinking, nothing.
So nothing. And then, you agree with me. What I liked about it was that JR could take events from 5+ years ago and put a unique twist on it and show that it still works, right? Like, you don't have to come up with anything fancy or anything that's groundbreakingly new, but you can take something, put a spin on it, and come out with a great competition that I think everybody would say was a pretty good overall test with 7 scored events.
Yeah,
He's a big fan of 7 or less in a competition. He doesn't like major competitions. If it's over 7 events, Brian doesn't like it.
But the better the more you can test within those without making them ridiculous, within the like lesser events, the better a programmer you are for a competition, because it's like a finer cut. It's like a neater cut with a scalpel, as opposed to like, oh, let's just fucking chop an arm off and then we'll worry about the rest tomorrow. It's like, you know, if you can do a perfect test within 7 events that someone else takes 15, it's just, I know it's different because you're testing longevity and recovery and all that other stuff as well. But if you can do it in 7, it's pretty skilled. I think I picked it because, and I'm like 100% aware of the fact that I'm biased. But I was there and I watched the events in person, and there was no event that I couldn't figure out what was going on, couldn't figure out who was in the lead. It was all so clear to me what was happening. And I don't look at these. I don't look at these with the same lens as, say, you guys, like especially say Bill and Chase. I don't look at it as like, all right, what minor muscle is going to fail in this, and what's the, you know, I'm just like, oh, that was cool to watch, I really like that, or like, oh, I haven't seen that used in that way before, that was cool. And there was a lot of that for me when I was at Crash, that I was like, oh, I never would have paired those things together. That's crazy. Or like, oh, I wouldn't have used that piece of equipment. I wouldn't have thought to use that piece of equipment in that way, the way that he's used it. And I guess like he's spoiled himself, but he is spoiled with the like kitty that he has to pull from, that he's like, all right, we're going to use these flip sets. All right, we're going to use this. Like, you know, it's just pretty cool, the setup that he has.
Oh, he's invested in all that too. So like,
that's what I mean. Yeah, he's spoiled himself, but it's like, it's a great position that he's in. I thought Wodapalooza was cool as well, but I just thought even like the teams pushing the flip sled at Crash, I was like, that's cool, because like you're gonna have them out anyway for the individual, and it's a cool way to use them for both without just doing the same thing, like rehashing the same workouts. I just thought that was cool. Yeah,
that's a good example. I think I forgot about that. That's another cap for Wodapalooza, what you said with the teams. I know you used it for Crash, but for Wodapalooza to program for the teams that are the same people who did individual, that was the first time that was done like that, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like they pulled it off pretty well. No, I know they're run through the train, but I feel like they pulled it off pretty well.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
I even just from a comedic standpoint, the like, what was it, the pistol squats and the shuttle runs or whatever, and that was that first team run.
That was
that was just funny.
Yeah.
Shot in the leg.
Yeah.
Maybe not that one.
Oh no, I love that one, man. I mean, that's a part of it.
Yeah. All right. So Chase, you start that one. So Bill or Brian, you can start the next one. So we go best female next. So
that's an easy one.
Of 2023, who
Do
is
we
the
just
best
want to
female
say it
athlete?
together?
I think we'll all just have the same one for this.
If you don't say Laura Horvath, you're wrong.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how you could
I
pick
concur.
anybody else in there. She won the game. She won Rogue. She won Wodapalooza's team competition. So
Probably would have won the individual if she did it.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
Tia
she
won
had
the
the
game
best
of
year.
life and then almost won Rogue.
Game of life.
just
The game of procreation.
yeah.
Are we all in agreement on Laura?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to make it boring, but I'll give you another one. Since I figured that direction. I mean, I don't want to waste a question. How about that?
Okay.
Like picking the MVP, right? If we pick the MVP in the basketball in the 90s, you should have picked Michael Jordan every year.
Time. So who is your Charles Barkley?
I'm going to say Ariel Lowen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
So
And
if you
we-
want to
and
do
we-
another category for
Let me
exceeded
explain why.
expectations.
Let me explain why. Is I looked at, okay, yes, best female. Okay, are we going to just pick the winner of the games or how they finish? Like, no, but I wanted to pick Ariel because I think she represents a great part of what old school CrossFit sport really turned people onto. in that she is that everyday athlete in a sense of, I don't know if you guys knew this, but she actually trains out of her garage.
She does.
Breaking news.
Oh, wow. Wow.
But the thing I love about Ariel is that she's pretty old school as far as competing with the new school group, right? She started in like 2013, 2014, tried to make the games for almost 6 or 7 years, and then retired in 2018 to start a family. And then comes out in 2021 just on a whim. It makes the games, gets 14th, and then gets again, right? Can't make it for 6 or 7 years, retires, come back, gets 14th, 11th, then gets third. And just doing it an old school classic way, doing it in an affiliate, like one coach in her garage. So I really love that. And yes, exceeding expectations in a sense of writing her off is like, yeah, she might do well. But what she's done this year and the way she's done it, I think is very old school, is why we endeared ourselves so much to the old games athletes, because they were the coaches in the gym. They were the athletes in the gym doing the workouts with the community. They're on staff, they're affiliate owners. And I feel like Ariel embodies a bit of that I liked seeing rear its head again in 2023.
Yeah, that's cool.
Hey,
you want to do that
Laura
for
was
the
clearly the best one.
you want to do that for the men too, like best male, and then who exceeded expectations the most? Because I tried to look at it from that lens, but it clearly says best one, or who had the best year. And it's hard.
Who else would you pick on the women's side, John?
Well, I mean, I like what Chase said was great. I think Ariel exceeded expectations more than anybody did. Nobody picked her to finish like that, and she did. I would say Alex Gazan had like the best year as far as where it started to where it ended.
Mm-hmm.
It's still Ariel over her, but just somebody who like got a lot of momentum in this year, and who is going to be here to stay. I think. Danielle Brandon went down. She got 9th.
Yeah, this is just like, oh, I really like Danielle Brandon. She's the best.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, but
No.
factually.
No.
You know what I mean? That's the only other person I would think as far as exceeds or like had a great year. I'm thinking of who had an awesome year, right?
Yeah.
Dude, Emma Lawson.
Well, that was expected of her.
See, but like I look at Emma, so so I obviously had Laura to start with, obviously. But I was thinking the whole time, I was thinking Emma, because to me, just as much as Chase was saying that Lowen is that stamp of the old school. I mean, she's riding with that. Since Emma started, I really think that she is going to be the future of the women's side on CrossFit. I mean, the way she is able to compete with the tenacity that she competes with the composure that she competes with, the way she talks, the way she carries herself, the way she executes everything that she's doing at the age that she is. And I know that a lot of I know Taylor gets all pissed off when we talk about, well, she's young, so she's automatically going to be good. I don't think it's just the fact that she's young. She is young, but she's got all these other things. And I don't see her like jumping around, patting herself on the back, or like, I'm here to play.
She ain't about to mentally break down anytime soon either.
I don't see that. So I see her as like, this year to me solidified that she's the future. Like that model, she's got that.
I would 100% agree with you about that. I mean, you're talking about the 2025 CrossFit Games champion, Emma Lawson.
That's right.
And I'm thinking of the start of 2023 to the end of 2023. Who had the best year considering what we expected of them? Yeah, I thought Emma Lawson was the second fittest woman in the world the whole entire year. I never didn't think that. And I know a lot of people were in the same boat. We're not counting Tia, right? I didn't think that of Ariel, and I didn't think that of Alex Gazan, where they ended up or what the momentum they had coming. I do think that of Alex now. I think Ariel will be less next year. So I agree with Chase's. Yeah. I think she had the best year considering what we thought she would be. Obviously, Laura is just the best one, period.
Yeah.
And I think Emma Lawson's going to be – Tia's going to win this year, and Emma Lawson's going to be 2025 Games champion. I promise you. I would bet $100 on that right now if Bill, I could get odds anywhere.
I wanted to add one thing to Emma Lawson that I think is a huge asset, sort of to John's joke, is that she also unplugs and disconnects.
Mm-hmm.
right?
Going to concerts, going to prom.
Exactly. Yep. And she can do that because she is not poured herself into an environment that she can't connect with. Right. And you can think about that as far as training camp stuff that you've seen with Haley and then you saw with Mal, is that Emma Lawson, who's 17 years old, like you said, is going to prom, has a boyfriend. Like she disconnected. She's a kid and she allows herself to be a kid. Right? And I think that is the biggest thing that you can point at trajectory and success, is that ability to take a step back, step out of the CrossFit Games bubble and just be human and then get back into it.
You know who I haven't seen anyone talk to about that point, allowing her to be a kid? Like, I haven't seen anyone talk to her parents. I mean, like, usually it's like, hey, mom, dad. I remember seeing Haley talking to her parents out in the lobby when we were in Florida at the regional, saying, no, I need to go to Mayhem. I want to go to Mayhem. I'm going to go there and I'm going to train. Because I remember talking to Tanya thinking like, dude, that's hardcore. That's a young girl who's picking her up her whole life to go to a training camp like that. Like what? Like it seemed really odd to me. And we don't hear anybody, like we listen to Emma, but like the parents will be able to see, not to be like, oh, our kid's great, but like, do they control that? Do they say, hey, are they the ones that are helping with that, or is that all Emma? It'd be interesting to know.
But even you never really hear from her. Like you intermittently, you like it's always like strictly on her terms that you hear from her.
Right.
Like you hear from her in like like she basically has that training day media guy is basically like her personal media person who does all of her content. So she obviously trusts him. But like you never see anyone else going there and doing stuff with her. You rarely see her pop up on a podcast, even more rare if it's alone. Like she obviously just has this very clever way of managing. It's on her terms.
Who's her agent?
Snorri, isn't it?
Snorri.
I think.
Wow. Yeah. Okay.
But like her coach is very similar. Her boyfriend, like Jack, is very similar. Like just quiet, head down. Like I was talking to him in Birmingham, and it was like he was really nice, like really friendly when I was talking to him. But I felt like I didn't know how comfortable he was with me standing there talking to him with a camera in my hand. And like, not like he didn't make me feel uncomfortable, but I was just like, I'm not sure how much this guy likes this. Like, and I never went near her for the same reason, because anytime I looked at her, I was like, I really don't think that she'd like me going up to her. Like, and maybe she would have, I don't know. But like, I don't know. They just seem to have, it's on their terms, and it's a clever way to do it, because you can't be dragged through the shit if if it's on your terms that you do it, and if you decide who you talk to and when you talk to them and why you talk to them. Right. And again, it protects that thing that John's talking about, and that Chase mentioned as well, the kind of mental aspect of things. Well, I didn't think the best female conversation would last that long. We're fucked for the rest of it. Okay, best male. Who have we got for that?
Is it John?
We all do the same thing. Like it's Jeff Adler. And it shouldn't be anybody else.
I'm in the same boat, actually. I have Jeff Adler and no extra bonus, but it falls in line with why I liked Ariel Lowen, is because I feel like Ariel Lowen has done it in a way that I can connect and respect with. And I think Jeffrey Adler has been one of the most consistent building athletes over the last 3 to 5 years. And he's been doing it the way you would want a young athlete to improve in the sport. And it's just steady, incremental changes, slowly building your places on the leaderboard, staying quiet about it, staying with one coach the entire time. I mean, Bill and I got to talk to him after the 2020 games, and he is not the same human being that he was.
Dude, not even close. Not even close.
And the way he's done it, I think, has been absolutely fantastic. And Jeff Adler, just hands down, is like proven himself to be the best one in the game at the moment.
And he's the only guy that I've seen, other than Matt, go from being the lifter to one of the best engines in CrossFit. Well, at least one of the best runners in CrossFit. Like Matt was the only one to do that. I'm not counting Rich at team. Rich was trash at running, and then he got good when he was on team. I'm not counting that. But Matt was the only strong guy who he's the lifter, and then he had the best engine in CrossFit. It like happened in like 1 year. It was from 2015, 2016. It was insane. Jeff has done the same thing, but over a little bit longer of a stretch. And can y'all think off the top of your head like a strong guy that has done that? It'd be like if Haley Adams all of a sudden could squat.
I want to say
Laura.
Khalifa got close, right? But that's what got him on the map.
I considered the engine running. Khalifa was always a good rower. He would never lose a rowing event.
True,
right? And it's a different era.
Not just in the running department, rowing department, but like that showed its head in the burden run, especially because it wasn't just running, but in the entire event itself was not necessarily in his favor. And then the running proved itself the rowing in 2014. But like the marathon row, I mean, that 13-14, what Khalifa did, I think is the closest to what you're talking about. Not to say the biggest leap, but funny enough,
I don't think anybody expected Khalifa
that's
the good.
Point. Yeah, you don't have someone that runs like a bear that is all of a sudden becomes like an endurance guy. And I think that he approached the level that Jeff did, but it was so shockingly different. It was like, dude, you're not supposed to be moving this quickly.
I mean, he lost 9 games because of the run.
Right.
That was it.
Right. Crazy.
Did everybody pick Adler?
I did. I struggled with it more than these guys, I think.
He won the Open, the games, and was second at Rogue, and almost won Rogue because Pat almost let it go again.
I picked Vellner because every competition he entered this year, he podiumed and he won 3 of them. He came.
You're on crack.
He came third in Wadapalooza. He won the team.
Hey guys, I'm the best at not winning, but I'm always great at showing up.
He came first in his semifinal. He podiumed at the games. He won Rogue. He podiumed at FitFest.
Oh God! You're gonna count FitFest, Pedro. You're out of the argument right now.
Every competition every competition he entered, he was on the podium.
You're right. He's a really, really fit guy. One of the best in the world.
And he's not the best male. He is my best male of 2023. My best male, John. Mine.
Good point.
Mine.
I just don't want you to be wrong, and it hurts me that you are. All right, we're gonna do exceeds expectations now. Do you want to do that one?
Sure.
Valor.
I'm asking the host.
Valor exceeded expectations. No, I think exceeded expectations. I actually think the first name that pops into my head for that is Jack Farlow, because I think as either him or Yala Hosta, both of those guys go into the games as rookies and like performing the way that they did. I think like Yala Hosta probably edges it just because I don't know.
That's a good one.
It's quite impressive what he did. But I just thought Jack Farlow, because he's so young and because like I don't know, I guess I kind of feel bad for him as well, because at FitFest he was like, nobody cared about me before I lifted that bar. And like I felt like he actually meant it. So I kind of just want to mention him in a positive way. But yeah,
it hurts him that he's with Emma, I feel.
Yeah, you're not going to get as much of this spot. Well, he might get more spotlight with her as well. But I think Yellow is just, for a guy who on paper, if it was this year, if like next semifinals was last year, wouldn't have made it to semifinals. For him to make it to the games, do as well as he did, qualify for Rogue, I just think that's very impressive.
That's a good pick, because
that's a great pick.
Exceeded expectations. I always put rookie men rarely do well at the CrossFit Games in their first year, barring extreme examples of great
phenomenons.
Right?
Yeah. Yep.
It's the best to ever do it. Yep. I didn't see that from Yellow Hosta, but at the same time, is that coming out of semifinals, everybody was thinking he actually would do well at the games because they called him the European Fikowski. Just as far as body type and ability.
Hey, I want to state I was the first person to say that, and then Tommy Marquez freaking ripped me off, and then it was ridiculous. I was so mad that he said that.
And so, like, exceeding expectations, I think, is easier to do than meeting them. And I think Yellow Hosta also did that, because there was a lot of expectations put on him after his semifinal performance that I felt were over the top and borderline unfair, and then he met those, getting top 10 as a rookie. So I'll do 2, right? He exceeded them, but then at the same time, he came in and met those and then exceeded them again once he got to the games.
This is another great shout actually as well, Jay Crouch.
So I'm thinking of a different guy from Oceania. You with me, Spin? You trying to say it first?
No, I have somebody different. I don't think anybody's going to guess this.
Okay.
Jason Smith.
I think Bailey Martin I know he's New Zealander. Yes.
Yeah.
You want to say the same thing about Yellow Hosta. I had no idea who Bailey Martin was. I thought he was just good for Oceania, and then I didn't care about him. And then for him what?
So you probably thought I was one of the women that qualified?
I guess that's
Bailey
the new face. Yeah. And for him, did he win the handstand walk? I think he did.
He won an event. I know
No, that was Cole. I think is it him or Cole Gracesaver? One of them won the handstand walk.
Oh, it might have been Gracie.
He won an event. I can't remember which one it was, but he did win an event, I think.
If you're confident about that, it would have had to be the handstand walk. But
Third.
13th total, I think 13th or 12th, something like that.
And I think the cool thing about him is that he was mentally fucked for like up until the games this year, for years of like, I'm a piece of shit, I'm not good enough. Like that was his whole inner talk for like 5 years since whatever he was there as a teenager, was you're a piece of shit, you're no good at this, you don't deserve to be here. So then for him to do all the things that you're saying he did, it adds an extra bit of like, that's cool.
Yeah, and it's just like it's the opposite of Yella, because I think like Chase said, there was unfair expectations put upon Yella, and he met them. Nobody expected anything from Bailey, and he exceeded everything. I think Dallin should be on the short list too. I know everybody thinks Dallin's great, but he continues to get better and better.
Yeah,
and
you got hyped up pretty good last year.
I know, but he's backing it up.
Spin.
Go ahead, Spin.
So this is personally the exceeded expectations, but I'll say Fikowski. I didn't even predict him to make it to the games, and
he predicted Fikowski to not make the games,
and then he qualifies and takes fourth. So that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, that's very humble of you. It takes a big front tail to admit that you were wrong like that.
He didn't just qualify; he got second in his semifinal.
He just scraped in there at the end.
You barely made it.
Yeah. Who else deserves a mention there? Chandler Smith probably deserves a mention. Like he's a perennial underachiever.
I like your double Vellner pick actually.
Yeah,
because you didn't really put exceeded expectations. Like second and win. I'm like, oh man, I thought you were dead. And he comes out and keeps crushing.
Okay, so best answer for that goes to me for picking Vellner twice. Okay, cool. You happy with that, John? Yeah, cool. Best team. Are we all in agreement that Invictus were the best team?
Yes.
Did they win?
Well, the thing about it is, it's like, I think the fact that it sounds like they fucked it up so badly before they got there, and they still won. So I think that adds to it. That like they were at each other's throats, it sounds like 3 or 4 weeks before the games.
You'd be surprised how much that can galvanize a group of people when they get funneled into the CrossFit Games.
Yeah. It's cool though. Nobody gives a fuck about teams, man.
Sorry.
Okay, best age group. So this could be masters or teenager. I'll go first. I'll go first.
I have a guy and a girl on this. Is that okay?
Oh, you had a facial expression of, can we move on to the next thing? You can go first then, John.
Do you want to go first?
Okay, I'll go first. Lucy McGonigal is my pick.
Ooh.
Same.
So like Crash's programming. It's just like,
Well, she won.
No,
so she won her age group. But then I actually think more impressive than that, she went to semifinals in Europe, pretty stacked field. She didn't look out of place at all. She went to, and this probably solidified it for me, in Birmingham. She was 16. She's 17 now, I think. She was her birthday like 3 days ago. Happy birthday. But she was 16 and did not look for 1 second out of place beside Ariel, beside Danielle, beside like Emma, any of them. Looked like you wouldn't pick her out. Like if you said to people like, hey, who's the youngest there? You wouldn't like immediately go to her. She's like so level-headed of like, because it must be intimidating as fuck doing that kind of stuff and going to semifinals, moving from age group into the elite and going to semifinals and then going to FitFest and feeling like you can't help but feel out of place when you're there, I'm guessing, when there's a line of people to take photos with Danielle and then you're just able to walk through the crowd. Do you know what I mean? You must feel out of place. But she handles it all so well, and her parents are always there with her, and they're always like helping her out of stuff. I think it'd be interesting to see what happens now this year. So she's with Proven now because her coach moved from Comp Train to Proven. And it'll be interesting to see if, because she's still in school, if she can get over there, if she can, train a bit over there, get a bit of like eyes on, hands on kind of training. That would be cool. But I do know that the semi-finals timing is not ideal for exam season in Northern Ireland. So that could be tricky. But she got a deferral last year on one of her exams, but I think these exams are more important. But yeah, I just think she's like crazy mentally, like she is crazy well put together. And then physically, she's just stupid strong and like capable. So yeah, she's my pick.
Yep, I had the same, probably for a lot of the same reasons. She also set 9 British weightlifting records a month ago. So
the British,
she's not the biggest athlete, but she's very strong for her age group or her weight group in weightlifting.
Who have you got, John?
I have a guy and a girl. I didn't know if we were going to talk about both of them or not. So my guy is Kevin Keister. He just made, if you want to see something pretty BA, he just had an Instagram post.
The garden gnome.
Yeah, the garden gnome. Yeah. Things us 57-year-olds aren't supposed to do. And then like within 1 minute, he like does a backflip, does sprints, does 8 ring muscle ups, cleans 245, benches something, and just does all these crazy handstands, just everything like you wouldn't, a legless rope climb, all the stuff people are afraid to let old people do. No offense, Bill. I know you can do most of those things, but
can he shoot bow and arrow?
And he won the Masters. No, he won the Masters by like 200 points. It was something around there, like a ridiculous amount. Blew everybody out of the water in his age group. And then so I have him as far as best age group. And then Susan Clark is who I have for the women.
God damn it.
And that's almost just hey, y'all don't know about this woman, and she's like the most dominant person in all of CrossFit. At least it's age group. So you take it with a grain of salt. But she's 64. And she just won the 60 to 64-year-old age group. And that's really hard to win your age group when you're the last one. You got all these young buck 60-year-olds walking into your division. It's hard to beat everybody. And she's got 6 first place. She took a year off in 2022. Anytime she's ever been to the games, she's won first place. And that's the ranges from the 55 all the way up to the 64-year-old age group. So that's my pick for the women. Sorry, Chase. Go ahead.
You're good. Susan Clark is fine as well. Yeah. And for the same reasons. Like she's late in the age division. She won. It's funny. It's like she has 6 first place finishes at the CrossFit Games. She also had 6 first place finishes at the games this year, with the only 2 being a second and third. She got 770 of the 800 available points. And in the Open since 2014, she's gotten first, second, first, third, first, fourth, second. And that's worldwide in her division. Like that shit doesn't happen.
Yeah, she's just as dominant as Tia Toomey. It's just at 60.
Different age group, yeah.
Is there who's the Australian woman that has made it every single year to the CrossFit Games since the beginning? Is she Australian?
Oh my goodness. Becca Boyd.
Becca Boyd.
Yeah. But that was mine.
Good.
Good pick, John.
Bill?
That was a good pick. I got to go with Jason Grubbs. One, he's got a great story, and I love, like, he's pretty big on Instagram with it, showing what he used to look like before he got into CrossFit, and then he gets into CrossFit, loses a shit ton of weight, tones up, and now he's won his 4th CrossFit Games championship at the 45 to 49 division. I think he's podiumed 5 times.
Yeah,
I think there's a 3rd before that. So great story. Extreme for it. It's really funny because I remember being a Masters athlete myself. I remember different athletes that are out there and some of their personalities. Like Sean the Ram. And those guys, it would win so many times, and they'd be talking about their legacies and how they're going to be this and they're that because they've won the CrossFit Games so many times, whatever. And I never hear that from Jason. Jason is like happy to be up that day and happy to be working out and happy to be competing and always super smiley and super friendly to like all the other competitors that are out there. He's a ferocious competitor. And when he's out there, he's really attacking. But after that, it's high fives and smiles, and he just has a great attitude. And he gets out there and just gets after it. Like it isn't like he is dominating people by hundreds of points. So he's always having to compete. He doesn't have the cushion that like Susan Clark has when she's competing, where it's like, yeah, I'm 500 points above everybody else, and so I could get a second in this event and it'd be just fine. There'll be times where he's third, then he's first, and then he's down in second, then he bounces around, so he's constantly having to fight, and he still has that fight, and I love seeing that. So Jason's my pick.
It's funny as well. Sorry, go on, John.
He gives me big time Noah Olsen vibes.
Kind of,
like
yeah. Always smiley.
20-year older Noah Olsen. That's what I get from him.
It's funny as well. There's a few in the different divisions and different like competitions now. There's a few that you look like when you look at a leaderboard, you automatically look to second place because of people like, say, Casey Acree, Jason Grubbs. Like, there's people that you're just like, all right, who's second and how far behind are they? Like, is it possible or is it just done? And like there are some of those dominant people that it's just like, it's just crazy impressive. Like it's nuts. Like same in the adaptive, like Casey Acree, that's the consistent domination that he has is fucking insane. That he's just like unbeatable. So every year just totally dominates any competition he enters. It's just crazy. It's crazy. All right. Best coach. I kind of feel like we'll all have the same answer. Maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, he picked Lucy as well. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Sorry.
Young Jay answered it already in the comments, I think.
Yeah. He has a different reason than the reason I picked. So John's brother.
It's bad because I'm also with Brute. Like I'm a Brute athlete, so it's does not.
Who's your coach is L, right?
Yes.
And what's he like in bed? Good or
amazing? He's so good. He's very gentle.
So yeah, Matt, Brute and Matt that's my pick. Because I just saw five athletes going to the game. Like it's crazy, impressive. It'll be interesting to see what they can do this year. I don't think any other, maybe HWPO, but I don't think any other camp has had as much upheaval in an off season where it's like, what do they come out the other side as? Bill, for fuck's sake, man, have some professional integrity. I don't know how many. I'll just be very interested to see in whatever June. What does it look like after semifinals? I think that would be interesting. But I mean, crazy impressive. He's obviously just really good coach himself, and he's really good at surrounding himself with other good coaches. As I'm sure John will testify to. Is there anybody else that, like Dom as well, like also had a big part to play? Are you not interviewing Easy Mohammed now? Like, you've got your own job to do. Anybody else disagree with that, agree with that, want to add to that, or tell me I'm stupid? Or
I had Torres as well.
Yeah.
I do not have Torres.
I don't have Torres.
Oh, wow. Who do you guys have?
Well, athletes need to stick around if you're going to vote him as number
It's
one.
not the best coach of all time. It's the best coach of that year.
I'm going to go with
it's the best.
The same reason why I picked Jeff Adler is I'm going to go with Caroline Lambright.
Oh, my gosh. Okay.
She has built that dude from fucking meathead strong into what he is today.
What is the age difference there between them?
I don't know.
She's 8 years older than Adler.
Wow, that was very specific.
John, are you stronger than Jeffrey Adler?
I could squat more.
Okay, so
I'm not stronger. Olympic lifting, I'm not stronger.
So the coach that comes in and takes you and makes you win the CrossFit Games 5 years from now isn't the best fucking coach in the entire CrossFit space right now?
I'd like to think I had something to do with that, Chase, if that happens. And like if that's your reasoning, then Shane Orr is the best coach.
For who?
For Tia.
Tia did not
Of
compete.
2023.
Jesus.
I mean, I think she could have competed and still
Like,
won.
I'm not
Sorry,
saying
bro.
Matt's the wrong pick, but you can't sit here and tell me my pick is terrible. It's the reason that I'm giving.
You coach
The
one
person that
person.
came in,
I don't know. I don't. You're right. Your point's valid.
And they
Your
won the
point's valid.
CrossFit Games.
Your point is valid, but
Right.
it didn't take me right now and then won the CrossFit Games in 1 year.
Exactly.
It's
Look
like
at what
6
she
years
did.
of development.
Yes, and you know what she didn't do is get some of the best athletes to join her camp for 2 years and then make them qualify for the CrossFit Games. How about that one?
No, you're right. I think
Right.
she would if she could. I don't think people are going to Quebec, Canada to train.
Well, it doesn't matter. You didn't recruit.
I think she would if she could. I'm telling you, she can't.
Was gifted games athletes, and then they went back to the fucking games. Why is that the better coach than Caroline Lambrey, who took John Young 5 years ago
He did.
and made him a CrossFit? All right, so don't come here and shit on my coaches.
If that's the case, then I need to move to Quebec because I think Jeffrey Adler's working with a little bit better bill of goods than I am. That's all I'm saying.
And I'm saying is like, don't shit on my pick. I didn't shit on yours.
You can't.
And if you want to argue,
you did afterwards. You did shit on it afterwards.
The gloves are off now, John.
Hey, we gotta wait till like January to have this. Chase. Oh wait, you lost. No, I'm not even gonna go against you.
The CrossFit Games with me. That's not indicative of like coaching style.
If you want a career coaching, like 5-year best coach, I think the Caroline Lambrey is a better pick than just 2023. She took third fittest guy in the world to first fittest guy in the world.
Fifth.
Whatever.
That's
whatever.
John. Where did Daniel Brandon go from last year?
Fifth to first.
Can you imagine your reaction, John, if you were in an argument with someone and they said that? Can you imagine? Your mic would shatter.
I am all the time. I debate freaking Tyler and Taylor half the time. They have no points for anything.
Yeah, actually, Chase, it's actually whoever programs. So Michelle Latondra is currently
Michelle Latondra, because that's all they do is main site.
She's currently Adler's coach. It was
Thank
Dale
you,
King.
little bro.
Yeah, Dale King, coach of the year for bringing.
Programmer.
I got money from.
Do you wonder if like
Paul as well.
Caroline goes, "Hey, we're skipping
Thanks,
these next 2 weeks."
That's funny. Yeah, that's a valid point, Chase.
Thanks, Corey, for becoming a member.
I think getting 5 athletes to
back-end
the
stuff.
games though is arguably more impressive than taking a guy who's one of the fittest guys in the world, legitimately top 5 fittest guys in the world, and then you get him to the fittest. You get to invest more into him because it's one-on-one every day, right?
Sounds like a coach.
Right. I'm just saying, I think it's more impressive getting 5 different people to the games than that one guy.
That have already been to the games. Okay.
Fair?
This isn't relevant to what we're talking about now, but ESC Sounds said Emma's got this is Emma Lawson's got an incredibly wide head and shoulders. Now the reason I'm bringing that up, so this is going to kill 2 birds at one stone because somebody, where the fuck is it? Somebody asked me to stand up, and this is setting a dangerous precedent. If someone says, "Hey, do this," and I just do it, but I actually have to stand up to go and get the speaker. So someone said that they liked my jumper and they wanted to see
Your jumper.
sweatshirt. Fondal, John Young is talking a load of blarney. No, that's not a phrase.
Blarney.
Barney is so Blarney is a place in Blarney is a place in Cork, and this is going to sound so fucking ridiculous, but there's a stone in a castle, right?
Oh, the Blarney Stone.
The Blarney
Yeah,
Stone.
if you like lie on your back and slide out like basically a window of the castle, and you kiss this fucking manky stone that's been outside and kissed by 1 billion people, and then it gives you the gift of the gab. So that sentence, I appreciate the $10, but that sentence is gibberish. A load of rubbish. Yeah, better. A load of rubbish.
Hey, just take the $10 and run.
He's talking bollocks is probably better. Bill, did you pick your coach?
Yeah.
I'll get this. And you do
I'm
that.
Lambrey.
No, I didn't. I guess I was kind of looking more at. I do see coaches as kind of like a long game rather than a 1-year deal, but I think like when I'm looking at the connection that these coaches are making, because we see people just jumping ship all the time. And maybe it's because I've had a lot more conversation with this particular coach, but I like seeing coaches that really are madly invested in their athletes. And so I really like Justin Kotler. I've liked him as a coach. Whether, you know, he has a couple of athletes that fall out, whether he gets all the big names to the games or not, I think that what he's able to do with his athletes, especially if he gets the right ones that can utilize what he's able to give, I think that he can do some pretty incredible things. So I like having a guy like that out there that really, truly cares about his athletes, rather than I'm going to throw you in the machine and we're going to chunk you out and we're going to make you go, or it's going to make my camp look good, or, you know, whatever the look seems to be. I like him in the mix. So
I think they've got a cool like dynamic, him and Kiefer as well. I think they're very they obviously work really well together, and it's
if I would like pick a coach that I would like to like compete for, Kotler, just his style, his passion, like that is something I've enjoyed with the coaches I've had in the past. If I'll say this, my pick for 2024 will be him if Sarah goes back to the games.
So your pick for 2024 won't be him. Okay.
Let me know.
I love that pick.
This is what I was getting.
Is that a sound box?
Yeah, it's ESE sounds, right? So they usually make the headphones. Where are they? Here. They usually make these.
They just had those little. They have the earbuds, right? That's where they started. Okay.
Yeah, they're cool. Like they never like they're like double unders running whatever. These and the little box. I'm sure this is really commonplace now, but the little box, you charge up the box, and then when you put them in, they're magnetic, so they stick back into the box like very easily, and they just start charging straight away, which is cool. This is a speaker, so it's got like the speakery bits are on the side, and then it's got Bluetooth, and you can. I think one thing that I really like is the buttons are fucking massive. So you know when you're in the middle of a workout and you're like trying to hit stuff, you're like trying to turn it up or turn it down. And I've actually suggested to them that they put a magnetic strip on the back, because it would be handy to just like, because genuinely there's two little black things, but they're like stoppers to stop it sliding. But when I got it first, I dropped it on the ground because I put it to the thing and let go of it. It just fell. It just fell on the ground. I was like, all right, it's not magnetic. But someone in the comments is we'll give who's the oldest here? Bill, are you the oldest? Yeah. You can pick a comment to win an ESE speaker at the end of this, because. And the reason I'm picking you is because I know you'd never be able to work this. So I'm picking you.
It's got big buttons. I can, motherfucker.
See the buttons.
Yeah, the instructions.
Bill would work it before I could. Okay. I'm the least tech savvy person here.
I have one of those speakers, and I can say it is truly awesome. Like, it replaced a big speaker I got from Best Buy for my garage gym.
Yeah.
Like,
I usually use
the quality is amazing.
I usually use the Amazon. I'm not going to say her name because she's under the desk. But I usually use the Amazon speaker because it's just easy, but it's so clunky. It's so
like, what's under your desk?
Yes.
It's so don't tell my wife. It's so clunky to like, you have to go into Spotify and start Spotify and then tell her to turn on Spotify, and you know, like there's just things to do. Whereas with this, if you turn it on, it automatically connects to your phone, and then you can just hit play on your phone and it just goes. I just think it's really good, and the sound is really good as well. So yeah, someone's going to win one of those, and you can buy them as well if you don't win. All right, best podcast episode of the year. So this is now, I think we're getting into like, there's a lot more opinion to this, because some of the previous stuff was kind of mainly cut and dry, and if you know, like fair, like one or two people are going to win each of the things. So best podcast episode. I think I get the feeling John is going to pick one of his own, so I'm going to get John go first.
Okay, well, I couldn't decide between two, so I'm going to say two. Okay.
Are they both yours?
No, one's mine, one's not.
Okay. All right. Go with your one first.
Okay. I feel like I got to go with the mountain. It was my favorite thing to do all year. It was super fun. It was super fun to make, and like, it gave me great joy seeing the comments saying this guy repeated this stuff in the mirror for 10 minutes before he came on the podcast, because everything was off the cuff, and I feel like I had amazing analogies the whole way. It seemed like a lot of the athletes appreciated it too. I had a Hopper and Sprague in my DMs, like getting mad at me for various reasons, and that was fun. So it was just it's the thing that I personally got the most feedback from was the mountain. So that's my favorite one that like I have had a part in. Other than I guess I did have a part in this other one though. So I changed what I said. But I think the best podcast of the year, hopefully we use it in the future, is the Get With The Programming's new DeHunt method.
Thanks,
when they
man.
did that marathon of a podcast episode. I truly think that's the best way to get the best people through to the next stages. And I think that's how we should operate. And hopefully somebody from CrossFit Games sees it and adopts it. So like I'm hoping that affects the future. Therefore, I think that's the best podcast that has happened this year. My most fun one personally is the mountain, and I think that other one is the best one. So
Thanks, John.
How is it that when I pick JR, it's good as dick out of your mouth, and then when he picked you, it's like, oh shucks, thanks, buddy.
Ours because it was. Come on, let's be real.
Okay, yeah, both. I can't argue with either of those, to be honest. I think what's especially interesting about picking the Get With The Programming one is that I think even people that don't know about it now, I think that's going to change. That has the potential to change the face of the sport in the next 5 years. And it's cool seeing it from the foundation level of like hearing about the idea and seeing it come to conception, where next February or March or whatever, I think a lot of people are going to be like, oh, fuck, this is actually like when you see it happening in real time, it'll add to the intensity of and the jeopardy and there's no hindsight. There's no like, well, we know that guy goes through it. We know that this happens when it's actually mattering, even though it's hypothetical this year, when it's actually mattering. I think that's going to be cool. And if you can stay awake with helping on, I mean, like it's a win. I'm only joking, happen. I see him in the comments, that's why I said that. All right, we'll go with John's usual podcasting partner next. So Spin, who have you got as your podcast of the year?
I was going to go with Get With The Programming, but after the Crucible comment, I don't know. That was it. I mean, I think the amount of work and effort you guys put into that was probably second to none to any other podcast that was done. I think probably the second was me trying to build the graphics for the mountain. But no, I think it was a pretty cool way of thinking about it. And I think if given the current structure of the season, if they would end up adopting that, I think it's the best way to advance and determine number of spots to the semifinals.
Great guest too, John, right?
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah.
The lineup was just star-studded.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
I'd have popped the whole episode.
Yeah, you guys, that made it so much better, because if it was just me and Bill talking, like, just would not have worked. So
and I tell you, I'm excited for
it. Great.
After the open this year, like after the first week, for you guys to do an episode, this is what it would be, and then after the second week, this is what it would be,
yeah.
And after the third week,
100% doing
like
that.
That's going to be pretty freaking awesome to see how it develops.
Just that comment. Very fucking Oceania, Asia, South America. Oh, that's funny. Chase, who have you picked?
I mean, as far as like fun I've had on a podcast, that was the most stressed I've actually ever been on a podcast, just running this, because it took a lot of work, and what Halpin put together was just like that made it X times greater than we could have ever just articulated with just spreadsheets alone. I will say, for the position I'm in, and I specifically talking about like CrossFit in general, I think one of the most important ones for affiliates and the CrossFit community at large that are just invested in CrossFit surviving and getting better, the day after podcast on the Savan podcast, I've actually mentioned this a couple times, was the discussion with Savan and Souza for almost 2 hours about the affiliate changes. And it was all over the pros, the cons, the questions, the concerns, like the conversation there at the time at which it happened for everyone to just listen to. any affiliate I've ever talked to over the last couple of weeks, and I've had a lot of conversations, is I'll send them there. Right. And I thought it was one of the best just sit down needed conversations that organically just took place. Right. Like our podcast is super fun, but like we planned that out. It was a lot of theater but like that was just so great and needed. And it was my favorite one of the year. I know it's a recency bias could be one of those things, but that was mine.
Yeah, I'm just going to skip the queue there because that was mine.
Oh.
I just thought impact wise,
Mm.
I think it just has it has a huge impact because I think it criticized and critiqued things, but it also gave an opportunity for people who might have otherwise felt like they were in a vacuum to feel like they had other people going through the and obviously everyone's going through the same thing, but to hear the same opinions as yours, or to hear maybe contrasting opinions of yours or whatever, and all the and Suze is just so grounded in his interpretation of things, and the advice he gives is always so I've never heard him give anyone bad advice, myself included. He's just such a good sounding board, and I just thought impact wise, that was a major that will continue to cause ripples, I think, for affiliate owners mainly. Bill, what about you?
The cool thing is, well, one, I loved the one that we did, me and Chase, about the semifinals. And the more we were getting into it and actually going through it, I really didn't feel that the audience really totally understood what it was supposed to be. And the more and more I was thinking, I hope CrossFit picks it up. I was like, fuck CrossFit. I hope they don't do it, because I want us to do this. I want our people to do this. And the ecosystem of podcasts and people that we are in connection with. What I really like, whether it's Sevon's CrossFit Games show and we have all of us pop on there, or it's this type of stuff where we all pop on, or it's that show that we did where we were bringing everyone in on guests. I love the fact that we're able to utilize our crew of people and all these different avenues of podcasts, and we can put them all together. And that's kind of like our pinnacle where we're pushing everyone through the game. So I really, really liked that. And, I was telling Chase earlier, I didn't totally get what he was trying to do with it. I was trying to put the numbers together. It just wasn't really fitting in my head, but he had thought about it with his long 6-hour drive or whatever it was to coming back from the summit. So I think that was a good one. But when I look at, I won't pick that one because that one's already been picked, but my pick is going to be off of Sevon's. And what's great is with Sevon's stuff is it is literally all the fuck over the place. So obviously he's got all the CrossFit stuff. Obviously he's got the rule books coming out, or the weekend review just came out. Or he'll stray off of the CrossFit stuff and he'll have affiliate and he'll talk to affiliate owners, or he'll stray and he'll talk to Glassman. But the one show
you're gonna pick one of my later answers before you answer this.
The fuck up was when he had the flat Earth guy on his show.
Oh my god!
And it was so funny because I've never seen Sevon stumped. That guy was going so hardcore into his views, which whatever, everyone's got their views.
Stressed me
So
out.
hardcore that you could see Sevon and Matt, they're kind of
are you talking about this guy or
this guy?
I have a different guy, but it's the same deal.
No, it wasn't.
It's number 974, Hibbler Productions.
There it is.
I wrote it down.
Right there.
Right here with the red.
Yeah, with the hat.
This guy is basically Jason Khalipa if he got on a conspiracy 20-year run. If you gave Jason Khalipa just conspiracy, cocaine, and he was in 24-hour darkness and came out, that's what this guy is.
Look at Matt and Sevon right now. They're like, oh my god, I don't even know how to say this right now. I don't even know how to respond to that answer.
People in here aren't ready for a Tartarian month here.
It was so great.
He just let him keep on going.
This is early, as well, that people are like, what the fuck?
It was the whole time.
If he keeps fast forwarding, he'll never stop talking. if you just pick random spots, Sevon and Susan will never talk in this the whole time.
Yeah. Holograms.
You just pick a different spot.
You took 20 minutes to not tell me how the sun's.
look at Sevon right there.
It's all the different body languages. It's like those little what do you call them? Like micro, those
Microaggressions?
Like Susan rubbing his mouth, being like, "Stop fucking talking!" And Savan like leaning back, leaning forward, leaning back. Oh man, it's so good.
Pedro, see how long you can take to find Sevon talking. Like, just keep clicking different spots to see how long. There you go. You got one.
That's the like a 9th time I've clicked. That's the first time. And look, he doesn't know what to do when someone else is talking. He's just like, "What? This never happens." Yeah, okay, that's a solid pick.
I forgot about that one. That was a good pick.
Yeah, that was good. All right, best live stream. I can't, and I put in the caveat that it couldn't be from OnlyFans. So Bill, what have you got for this one?
Mine is going to be the off the cuff try to attempt to save semifinals that Chase came up with using the restream. That was mine. Like it was
Adrian Conway.
Yeah, it was a quick thinking way to get the community to see what they needed to see, because to get everybody in and not let the community see the races is the worst thing you could do. I understand all the reasons, I get it, but the way they pulled it together, CK guy, like the stuff that went down, that was the best shit, and it was so good that they tried to like recreate. They're like, "Hey, you have to come here and do this at this next." We weren't going to do it, but now we got to do it. How are we going to do it? Like I thought that was amazing. That was rad.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, I just got it before he stopped. Well, kind of when he stopped talking.
Oh, sorry.
I tell you what, Chase, that podcast is fucking hard to find. Chase, what have you got for yours?
Oh man,
the Masters online games, right?
Yeah.
The wide angle view.
2023 CrossFit age group division. I will say that the most fun I had watching a live stream, and this is a harder one to pick for a variety of reasons, but it was the one they did in California. No, not California. Was it in where they did the West Coast? Was it California?
NorCal?
Yeah.
Oh,
Hiller's live one?
No, the semifinal live. So the same coverage that Bill's talking about.
Oh, Sacramento.
The Sacramento one.
Yeah.
So we set it up, and that day I was going on like a family reunion trip. And so I set all of this up and just prayed that those guys wouldn't screw it up. And in comes Jason Khalipa.
Oh,
yeah. They were so good. Yeah.
And all of a sudden it just turned into like two bros.
Bro, look at him over there, bro.
I'm driving to Wichita Falls, Texas. Like it's like a 2-hour drive, listening to it in the car with my kids being like, what is going on? And just like losing it. And so like what those guys did together, I thought was that was my favorite one. It was like anything like we would ever do, just watching a live stream happen, but they were doing it and there just happened to be a camera on them.
Yeah.
That was
good. John, what have you got?
So I have the same one as Bill, but for different reasons. The makeshift semifinals one. The reason why I have this one is because one of my favorite moments of this year, before Linda, I texted Chase and I was like, "Hey, heads up, Colton's going to set the world record in this workout." Okay. He doesn't know why I told him that. Nobody else does. I'm screaming it in every podcast, and people think that I'm just saying it to say it. Colton has told me that he's going to set the world record in this workout. And then like maybe 5 minutes after I text him that, like he's like, "Thanks," or whatever. And then I'm watching his live stream, and he goes, "Hear me out, Adrian." Like Adrian's picking his winners. "Hear me out, Mertens." And it kind of just gets silent for like 5 seconds, and then Adrian's like, "I like that pick," right? He doesn't know, and it brought me such joy that little moment, because I'm like, I created that little moment, and it was just very fun to watch, and then it came out to pass, so that was cool. Also, Khalifa within that one, it cracked me up every time, and it's not his fault. He was fantastic, but like it'd be like Mertens was 15 reps ahead of everybody. He's doing his last bench press, walking to his last squat clean, and then Khalifa goes, "I think Mertens is going to win this one." It was just so like I don't know how to explain it, but it was just very, very funny. Like, it was off the cuff, funny, and I got to play a part in it somewhat. So that was my favorite live stream for those reasons.
Yeah. Brian?
I'm going to pat myself on the back and do Fit Fest.
That was my second, Brian, but I figured that you were going to say that one, so I was not going to say that one.
I mean,
Are you picking the Friday, the Saturday, or the Sunday for that?
it's a really tough one. I'm going to go with Friday, though.
Yeah, that was the best one, I think, yeah.
I mean,
it could have been.
Yeah, just to be able to get cameras like over the people's shoulder, like seeing Hopper and how hard he was on the bike, and the access that we got to be on the floor with him, I think it was definitely great. I mean, the semifinals was my second pick, but you guys were also hamstrung. Like, they wouldn't even let you get out onto the floor. Like, we had, and I know that's an exhibition versus a true competition, but
a guy walking in between machines.
Yeah, like
seeing
to have a person
number
right there, right on top of them, and then to be able to have that technology where it's free, and we were able to show something that they weren't even going to show. I think it's just pretty cool to be a part of and to do it. And I hope we see more, whether it's on my platform, Savon's, CrossFit podcast, I don't know.
Morning Chalk Up, or wherever.
Yeah, wherever. I think it's just a unique experience that is something different, and kind of goes back to the old school days of trying to follow this sport.
I think. Sorry, go on.
No, you go.
And we had little moments where like Hopper texted JR, and JR texted us right after the fact and said Hopper stayed in the machine the whole time. He held this, and this. And we saw on his screen like 140 on the bike. And he told JR he held 136 the whole time. And I was like, it's on our screen, man. It's live on YouTube. Tell that man to quit lying. Right. And like, just those like little moments are gold. Like, those are so fun just to talk trash to people, or, and it was very fun. And it was unexpected. I thought that was going to be boring. It was very cardio workout, and it was very fun. Like, if you go back and watch it, we are having a great time trying to tell you all what's happening
for 25 minutes.
And we don't even know what's really happening. We're just trying our best. And it's just, it was a very good time.
So good. I cannot make sense of this. Sorry, JR. So good that apologized to he and BJY in a private text that I missed it. Is that voice to text?
Black JY.
Black.
But so good that I still don't understand it.
Dude, don't worry about it.
He's in robot mode.
BYJ.
It's hard to look past the semi-finals thing, because it changed the experience for so many people, I think, that would have otherwise not been able to see anything. And it changed, like, doing it it was Florida first, wasn't it? Doing it in Florida had a knock-on effect on Europe and a knock-on effect on West. I just think that aspect of it was cool. I think honorable mention for Crash, because the effort that was put into making that as good as it could possibly be, with like fucking cables everywhere, and there was just so many people involved in that. I think that was special too. But yeah, the semi-final thing, it was bootleg, and it was like flying by the seat of your pants, and just like, it felt classic CrossFit in a way, because it was like, this is going to sound harsh, but it was like kind of bad, but like great. It was so like
raw.
amateurish,
Yeah.
and it was just
was raw. That's what made it so great.
It was rough.
Yeah, it was like
2008 CrossFit Games.
Yeah, it wasn't the usual like pristine.
I had taped to like a scaffolding in Berlin, like with duct tape, and just plugged it to my computer and was like, I hope this gets most of the field.
Like it's cool though, because and like you say, like at least those moments like Kalipa and that, where when they're on a microphone and they know they're on like fucking ESPN or whatever, it's like, oh well, yes, of course, this is an excellent example of whatever, and it's kind of like just fucking talk normally, like that's what we want. Like I want to hear people talk about the sport the way I talk about the sport, not the way that some fucking suit talks about it.
I have a question for you,
or whatever.
Pedro.
Yeah.
Why do you think this can be for you? All you guys, how come you think more event organizers are not open like JR is? Like JR gave us unlimited access and we know him and he's a part of the locker room and it's all good, right? But why are more event organizers not more willing to allow media access like that? It would only be good for them, would it not?
I think it's fear of losing control a bit, I imagine. There's probably pressure from, depending on the events, there's probably pressure from sponsors. There's probably pressure from I think sales.
They want to control the media. They want to control the product that's being made and how it's going to get put out. They want to be able to handle that. So like with JR, I mean,
I fucking beg your pardon.
He's right here within our group. You know what I mean?
You had a question.
That's awesome. But so I think that's going to be part of it. The other one is like they just want to make sure, like JR knows you guys. I mean, we all know each other really, really well. So he can trust it. Like, okay, you're going to take care of the stuff, and you're not going to try to make his product look bad. You're not going to get in the way of his competition. You understand how important that is. But not every other event coordinator knows these people that are coming in. And the bigger it gets like that, you just want to make sure that it's going to be controlled and all falling in line.
Don't get that. It's CrossFit trying to show CrossFit.
Oh, you mean why like CrossFit wouldn't let?
Do you mean
No, all of them. Like why CrossFit? Like
that's better.
Sure, Sevon and behind the scenes. I know he just did it, but and then Fit Fest and kicking us out, and the semifinals and not allowing people to show that, right? And we have to do the phone wide lens, Chase's best effort thing. Like there's just so much media stuff that I feel like is so hard. There's so many like unneeded hoops to jump through. Just let people broadcast it if they want to broadcast it. We do it for free. Like I don't know why it's such a hassle sometimes.
But even what they should do, if they're afraid of stupid things like ticket sales, like which is just illogical. But if that's what they're afraid of, then like they could have said to Spin on Saturday morning, hey, yeah, just fucking like it's 9:00. I mean, nobody's coming now that isn't already coming. So yeah, just start. It's fine. I'll just give you late notice. And they just be like, and you would have been fine with it. Or if they just told you Friday night, hey, we'll let you know Saturday morning, then Saturday morning, yeah, you can do it. And then Saturday evening, hey, we'll let you know, like, don't say that you're doing this tomorrow. And we let you know tomorrow if you can do it or not. And then let you know. It would have been fine. And like, if that's the problem with, say, like, okay, Waterpalooza has a live stream, but if they didn't, or if someone wanted to do another one, like when Savan did it and was told to stop, they could just say like, just don't advertise it beforehand, but you can do it. Like, don't tell people like you can do it because it helps. But like, I guess with Waterpalooza and stuff, the pressure is that there's sponsors, like Tier or whoever is like, no, like we need to drive the traffic to blah, blah, blah. And it's like, you're fucking idiots. Like, you just don't understand. Like, you're just so obsessed with numbers that you don't understand that everything helping everything helps everything. And this thing of like, well, we need it. We need the traffic going to our website because then they'll buy our shitty sunglasses and our shoes. And it's like, no, like you need to help the sport. And then that's your focus. And then as a byproduct, people will be like, fuck, wasn't that really cool of Tier that they let Savan do the live stream and that they didn't stop him doing it? They didn't cock block him. And then we got to watch like the coverage that we wanted with the voices that we wanted. And we got the best of both worlds. And then they'll say like, I'm in the market for a pair of shoes. Fuck it, I like Tier because of what they did. Like, they weren't dicks. Like, I'm gonna buy a pair of Tier shoes. Like, that's how it works. Instead of like, it's the same as fucking commentators that are talking, like they think they should sound like when they're talking instead of talking the way that they normally talk. And like Chase, if you talk to Chase now and you talk to Chase, I've never been to his house. But if you talk to Chase in his house and you hear Chase on the commentary, it's just Chase. It's not like, oh, that's commentary Chase. He's different from regular Chase. He's different from on the Savan podcast Chase. He's different from on the Games podcast Chase. It's just Chase. And like, that's what people want. They want authenticity that's actually genuine. They don't want authenticity that is like, hey, we really care about the community. We get that fucking camera out of here. Like, they don't want, that's not authentic. You can't care but block. You can't care but like put up barriers, but like raise a barrier of entry all the time. You can't do that. If that's what you're doing, you're being inauthentic by saying we want to help. Like, no, you don't. You want to make money. Just say that. That's what the problem is with live streams, Sean. That was a rant. I'm sorry.
That was fantastic.
I was enjoying that.
That was a good one.
You feel better?
Everything helps. Everything helps everything. As I was saying that, I was like, this is genius. And now that I read it back, I was like, that's the most stupidest thing I've ever said. All right. Best interview. I'll go first on this. Actually, Spin, you can go first on this because you haven't gone first on anything.
Best interview, your interview with Don yesterday.
Bingo.
Oh, that's recency bias.
Not even close.
No, I mean the questions you asked.
Gosh, Brian,
Haven't
get
been
your
asked.
dick out of your mouth. God.
Look, there's an objective friendship.
I'm just kidding.
There's
I'm just
actual
kidding.
good takes.
I'm
And
just joking.
the Don Falls interview was freaking amazing.
It was pretty
Thank
good.
you. Thanks. I find that awkward, so I might just breeze past that pretty quickly. No, it was good. I was absolutely shitting it before that. I was saying it to Bill just before we came on, where like obviously we talk a lot, and we know that if one of us does something that's not good, we'll hear that it's not good. Or like if someone does something that's not good, we'll hear that it's not good. And if someone does something that's great, we'll hear that it's great. And I had Don on before and it went well. And I remember Savan praising it and saying like that was really good, like really good questions, really good, like, you know, listened a lot, blah, blah. And then before this one, I'm sure it was just a throwaway comment from Savan, but I was just like, hey, if anyone has any questions, like just, you know, and it instantly turned into just stupid things being sent in. But he remarked like casually, oh, you're a good listener anyway, so you'll dig in. And then from the moment I read that text, I just felt insane pressure of like, oh man, this is like, I feel, I just feel pressure to deliver. And like, if it's not as good as the last one, it's going to be shit because the last one was good. And yeah, I don't know. It went well. It just went really well. And I think it's like Bill was saying, not changing and stuff. I think I do get away with some stuff because of my accent. And I think I don't to be honest, I don't understand a lot of the fucking businessy type answers. So then I ask questions that I think that I genuinely like. I'm like, well, do you mean this? And then it clarifies something, and people are like, it's great that you got to clarify that. And it's like, well, I just didn't understand what he said, so that's why I asked the follow-up question. But yeah, no, thanks. I appreciate that. That was good. I had kind of three in my head, just total recency bias. Roman on that Russian podcast, just like, he was just so a different Roman that I've ever seen talking. So relaxed. His body language was totally different. He was just like, it was like he had like 5 beers and was just talking to his friend. It was just like, yeah, and then this guy, fuck that guy, you know. And I just like really like that. I thought Newbury on Savan was really good. Like I listened to that twice, and I just thought like it's just a really, really good like chat. And I actually thought Don on Talking Elite Fitness. And the reason I thought that one was good is because generally speaking, their interviews are shit. And they actually asked him good questions and got good stuff out of him.
That's a good one.
So that was like that's like your what way did we word it for the not the best male but the most, you know, exceeding expectations.
Exceeded expectations.
That interview exceeded my expectations greatly. Brian, do you have to go? When do you have to go?
I probably need to head out here. Like,
Do you want to do your last three? Do you want to let him do the last three?
Do you want to do your funniest moment or your quote?
We'll start with the quote. My favorite was Vellner speaking about Lazar. and how you can eat them in
Dang
any
it, Brian.
day.
That was mine.
You have that here, actually. I'll be able to hear it, but can't hear it. Oh, sound.
But he said, on my best day, I can beat all the other guys on their best day.
I'm glad for Lazo's confidence. We'll see. Because I like to think that on a pretty average day, I can beat Lazo.
On a pretty average day.
Like a Thursday or something.
That's the best part. Like a Thursday or something.
My favorite bit is Savan's head shooting up, where he's like, "I got something." Like, you know, he's like, "I heard something cool." Yeah, that was a great one. In fairness, that was really good. What was the other one? The funniest moment? What do you got for that?
I'm going to leave on a high note with you. I think the funniest thing that's happened all year is fake news.
Oh, thank you.
That's a good one.
I mean,
Thank you.
yeah, I know you. I've seen you run a couple things, ideas past me, and then usually I'm like, yes, or I don't know about that. And next thing you know, you come out with it, and it's different and funnier.
Yeah.
It's all about
I think I always have an idea in my head and then I say it. It's usually you or JR are my sounding boards, because you'll tell me if it's too dangerous, and JR will tell me if it's morally corrupt. To say, like, you're my litigious like side, and JR is my like, dude, no, like you can't. Like the best one was I can't remember. I said something the other day. I was talking about Rosa and the Roman thing, and I sent it to JR, and I was like, "Is that too harsh?" And he was like, "You said worse." So I was like, "Okay, that's fine." Yeah, I appreciate that, Brian. Thanks. And thanks for coming on. Congrats on everything you've achieved with Spin this year. It's fucking insane. Like, you're just a machine. And yourself and Tyler and that other guy that do the Wednesday shows, John, great. Like, that's the format of that is perfect. The consistency of it is perfect. It's really good. Like, do it earlier, but it's really good.
Right on. Thanks, guys.
See you, Brian.
Thanks. Thank you. Thanks. Bye-bye. Right, we have to go back. Did everybody do their best interview?
I have not.
John,
Chase, have you? It was Don Crawford, all of you guys.
Yeah.
My best interview, we talked about it a little bit earlier, was number 974 on the Sevon podcast, Sean Hibbler, and that 2 hours and 50 minutes of just straight nonsense. I'm not lying to you guys. Like, it was a later podcast too.
Yeah.
I fell asleep to this. I just let it play on my chest as I was just laying on my pillow, and then I went to sleep. And I woke up like a couple hours later to this, talking, and he was still talking. And I just, I've never seen Sevon like the podcast goes on the rails a lot, right off the rails a lot. I have never seen Sevon like lose control of the situation. he might like make it out of control, but then he's like, all right, let's reel it back. Let's talk about this now. Right. But like, he's the one making it off the rails. Right. I've never seen him just at a loss of we don't know what we're doing here. Like, we have no idea where it's going and I can't stop it. And I just feel like he was out of control in that one. He did not have control, and it was just very entertaining. So yeah, that was my favorite. That was the best interview.
Yeah, that's it.
And I don't know how you could sit in your chair and just listen to somebody like that for 2 hours and 50 minutes. Like, it's insane to me, the patience that he had during that.
It shows how good of a interviewer and a person, I guess, that he didn't just tell him to shut the fuck up, but how good of an interviewer he is that he can talk to that guy and then the next day talk to fucking whoever, Newbury or whatever.
That's what's so great about Sevon, dude. Yeah, he's amazing with that. I mean, he has every single type of person on his show.
Yeah,
and he's able to work. And I mean, to his credit, like, he even says it. He's like, my plan whenever I have someone on the show is I want to be all in for that person's life for 2 hours. It's my deal to learn everything I can and to make it as, he's like, I want a relationship with that person for 2 hours. I mean, he gets really, and it's cool. It's really cool. You can see
he'll never let anyone down. Like, he'll never diminish anyone's brand by going on it.
No,
like, people will say, like, oh, well, Bryce. It's like, no, he did that to himself. Like, Savan tried his absolute best so many times during that interview to make him look good, and it was just impossible. Like it was like he just every time Savan set him up for like, well, like, but you know, like, and he'd say something and Bryce would be like, well, no, and it's like, oh, fucking dude, like he's really trying. And it's like you can bring a horse to water, but he just fell into the fucking drinker every time.
And have you seen how many views Bryce's podcast gets? Sevan brought more advertisement to that podcast than he could have ever have dreamed of.
Yeah, it's on. Yeah, you
It's
can go
humbling
enough for yourself. That could be a shout for funniest moment, actually, the front tail thing. All right. I'll go with my funniest moment. And it's I had a couple in my head. Svan's going to feature so heavily in the next two segments, the funniest moment and the best quote. But so one of like there's a couple of funny moments. Kind of competition. I thought it was hilarious that the Noah and Shannon and those guys fucked up their lift in Down Under. I don't know why. I just found it absolutely hilarious that you could mess up something so basic. Like I just thought it was so funny. But I've gone for maybe the quote. I actually says too. I got a notification today. You know the way your YouTube notifications pop up on your screen sometimes. It's like cure for a prolapse anus, and I was just like, what? Why is this a notification on my YouTube? And it was because of Savan, obviously. So this is my moment of the year because it's the only time I've ever been drinking something and literally spat it out of my mouth because it was such an unexpected. So I'll hope the sound plays on it.
Personal question.
Yeah.
When's the last time you got a hand job when you were standing up? What?
That's a maniacal laugh.
It's crazy. Standing handy. Can I ask you a personal question?
I just thought it was so funny because you just had no idea that's. It was just so out of left field, and it was just. I just thought it was amazing, and Susan's reaction, the fact that there was like a 2-second delay where he was like, "Did he just say what I think he just said?" and then lost it, and I think that was my reaction as well. Of me and Susan both laughed at the same time, and I was like watching it and just spat everywhere when I just thought it was.
My wife and I were watching that live, and she was just like, I don't understand this show.
What would have been great is if you like just quietly said last week, and she was like, "No, what?" Okay, who else is your funniest moment? John, is yours just that entire Flat Earth podcast?
No, that was just the best interview.
What have you got for funniest?
Funniest moment, I'm going to say Hiller's humbling video.
Oh, God.
Just because it was like the evidence was very overwhelming. Like I get it. Like you say something a lot. Like when Justin Madero says like a lot, he's 22 years old, 24, whatever. He's young. He says like a lot. It's what kids do. Like, it's fine. It's funny, but it's fine. Like the humbling thing, man, it never let up. And like you said, Sevan tried so hard and it was just impossible.
It's
I
like
think
the
this
outro,
video
isn't it?
does it justice.
I think it's the outro.
And then
isn't it?
This humble piece.
I asked you. No, I like it.
That is, in my humble opinion, the best box jumpers. In my humble opinion, are really good skateboarders and snowboarders. I mean, in my humble opinion. And so, in my humble opinion, that humbles us. Sometimes I think there's just a humble manipulation of circumstance in order to elicit attention. Right? I think it's a humble reach to elicit personal gain. I know Dave was a little upset by it. I didn't see all the specificity associated with that, but in my humble time spent with Dave, he does have some biomechanical issues where he can't lock out his elbows. I don't know what Hiller got on him about, but that is a humble gray area within the CrossFit space. You and I both know this.
There's just where he puts it.
Oh.
There's no reason to put it there, right?
No, it doesn't make sense. Actually, you reminded me as well of the Mama Deer thing. The Mama Deer reel that Hiller made was also a top notch
reel. I think I missed that in this up, and I am on the outs of what this is.
Here,
what, Mama Deer?
So you know the guy that did the survey. Like his name is I can't remember what his name is, but
Marabou for Mara.
It's like vaguely like vaguely. It's a tentative link. Hang on. I need to go back to the start of this. This is fucking, it's just so funny. He's got such a weird brain. Okay.
Christmas Eve, CrossFit came to say, Moose Allen, with your nose so bright, won't you exploit my affiliate tonight?
But it's just the nonsense of like, where the fuck is the actual original Mama Dear one? You talk amongst yourselves there. I'll look for this. Yeah, John, that's a great pick.
I couldn't think of something like excessively funny that just like stood out, but after watching that Humble video,
Dude.
And it just never let up.
Just brutal.
And on the quote, but Spin stole my quote because that was my quote too. I could beat Lazar on any given Thursday. I thought that was hilarious. So I'm gonna roll with his front tail piece. If you can find anywhere, if you have that like on hand, Pedro.
Which
if you could pull that up
front tail.
humbly,
Front tail in his hand.
if you could humbly pull up front tail at some point.
I'm probably not going to be able to do that. Unless someone sends in the timestamp of when it is. I can't find this fucking Mama Dear thing. It's really annoying. That's not it. Maybe it was on YouTube. He looks like he's getting fucked by him there, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Is this it? No, that's the Dale King one. Shit, I can't find it. Sorry, Hiller, I can't find it. But he did. Maybe it was on YouTube. He did a video comparing this guy to, like, he changed his name to Mama Dear. He just called him Mama Dear in passing, and then it became like this. Like, it became a whole thing. Sorry, I can't find it. If someone wants to send in a timestamp of him saying front tail, I'll get it. But I mean, don't think I'm going to get it.
Okay, I like that one. The CK guy.
Yeah.
And then we interviewed him, and then I realized, like, this guy's probably in the witness protection program.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was when I was like, oh, I should have never, ever come over here and talk to you about this.
You were so excited to do it too. You're like, hey.
Who do you know? He's
Oh,
like,
I got
nobody.
nothing.
I'm like, why are you here? Oh,
Look at this shit. This guy has money to burn, man. Gifting memberships. That's 4 separate memberships he's after gifting. It's like a show Santa Claus.
Merry Christmas.
Okay. Has everyone done their funniest moment?
No, I think just John.
Oh, I did.
Oh, you did.
Did
you?
you?
Too, yeah.
Did
I
you,
didn't do
Bill?
it. No.
Yeah, you go.
You go, Bill.
I guess mine was kind of it was longer than just a moment, but it's kind of a string of moments, and it all has to deal with Roman. Because we go from Roman coming after the games where it's like, oh, poor Roman got picked on. And then he comes back trying to get at Jeff with his post. It gets bashed because, it's like 2 months after the fact doing that. And then all of a sudden he starts coming out. Then he's talking shit on Guy about how Guy's not really a real this, that, and the other thing. And then all the stuff about, the translator feeds him at the finish line and is now his agent and is all this other stuff. And it's like this massive curtain of everyone that tried to love Roman, and is all of a sudden this now like Roman gate. All of these things are happening, and I'm standing back going like, what the hell just happened? It's like the most ironic story of, man, he's this guy just trying to get in here and compete. All of a sudden it's the shadiest stuff I've ever heard in CrossFit, where this is not the guy I thought would be the villain in CrossFit, and all of a sudden it's like, okay, I guess he's waving the villain flag now.
I have a theory with Roman that I hope plays out. I really hope he wins the games the next 2 years, but like stuff like this continues to happen.
Yeah.
And there will be a growing hatred for him. And then there will be a new guy that's from America a new guy that we've never heard of. And
Rocky?
Oh no, like Austin Hatfield. Austin Hatfield is going to come out of the woodworks. And Austin Hatfield will be the guy that we all root behind, and we will have a true Rocky IV battle for the 2026 CrossFit Games. This is what I hope comes about. I hope Roman just kind of runs roughshod for the next 2 years until Austin Hatfield has ascended, and wins it for America. And he's from West Virginia. Good old boy. Like, this is what I hope happens. This is what I'm hoping happens for the foreseeable future. I can't predict it. It's obviously, but just stuff like this keeps happening, right? There's
a lot.
Man, I didn't even think about how great Austin's last name is now that you just mentioned that.
Hatfields and McCoy, man.
Yeah. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even I know who they are.
You even all right? I was going to say I don't know if Pedro knows what we're talking about.
Wouldn't it be hilarious if Roman had like perfect English? The whole way.
And I hope like shady stuff like this continues to happen. I'm saying throughout the next 2 years.
Like he knows English. Like he learns English. Doesn't tell anyone he learns English. Keeps doing this. Like, oh, I need my Rosa. Like whatever. And then like someday someone just hears him on the phone and he's just like, no, I told that guy that I'm not having it. Yeah. The funny thing about that whole thing is like I actually think it's fucking brilliant for him. Like I think it's like. In one of the quotes, he was like, "Oh, I just want cause a bit of a media foot." I mean, he fucking did it this time. Do you know, like he did what he set out to do. I think Rosa comes off terribly out of it, but I think it doesn't really affect him at all negatively.
And he hasn't come out and said anything either.
I have no problem with him talking.
Yeah, I don't either.
Zero.
No, I hope he wins and says everybody's trash.
Yeah.
Even I was talking to someone at Mayhem, and they were like, "Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of conversations about it, but." Like nothing. Like people were just like, "Oh, did you hear it?" And like, "What do you think?" But it wasn't like fucking crisis center. It was just like, okay, move on.
Yeah.
That's it. Chase, did you pick yours?
I have thoroughly enjoyed your fake news as of late. It is something to look forward to every week. And you seem to still, but here's the thing: your best. Well, I don't want to tell you what your best is because I don't want you to overthink it. But the way you close out every one of them was wonderful.
Like each story. What do you mean?
It's always something random at the very end.
Have this little one-liner at the end each time, and I'm like, damn, that was great. That was like no praise but self-praise. Like there's no praise like self-praise. I was like, oh my god, that was, it's average, but like at the same time, the timing of it, and then like the way it cuts, like And personally for me is like reels that are funny or like become viral when they cut off just at the it's like something explodes and you just hear the bang, but you don't see the explosion, like that kind of stuff. I really like. I'm like, oh, all right, that was good. I'm gonna watch it again. I've enjoyed those. You found a nice niche for yourself.
Thank you. Yeah, I enjoy making them. I feel immense pressure every week. For the same reason with the Don thing, where I'm like, all right, last week's is good. And every time I make one and put it up, I'm like, this is shit. Like,
did you see Case?
I nominate UMJ.
Not that one.
This one. You do it then.
I'll do it.
Before it. Oh. That's accurate. I was
expectations.
You win the exceeded expectations in podcast land.
Yeah. Yeah.
Actually, not meaning that as a negative, I feel like this year for you has been an incredible year. And you've done a lot of great stuff for a long time. You said you just celebrated 4 years. And Bill and I had to talk to you for at least the last 2 or 3. Mm-hmm. And I've always enjoyed your position and how much work you put into this and didn't get a lot of the recognition. And so what I've enjoyed this year is that you are getting that, and you've yet to turn into a prima donna about it.
Yeah, I didn't know who you were until last year.
Thanks, John. I think it's kind of like and I'm not saying I'm the best. I don't mean it in that kind of way, but it's kind of like the Adler thing of like just putting in the groundwork and just like keeping going and keeping going and keeping going. And then eventually it just comes good, or you just enjoy doing it anyway.
Yeah. That's for a lot of
people see who enjoys doing what they're doing. And I think that is who is successful. That's why Sevon's been successful.
Bill and I have been doing that since the beginning. It's like we started because we love talking about programming. We love hanging out. We didn't get to, so we figured we would just do it online for a podcast.
Totally.
And it's not for money. I mean, if money comes from it, cool, but it's not for money at all.
I think I have this here. Hang on.
Which are what our 4 years in March.
Yeah, you believe that?
No,
Let's go.
yeah.
It's crazy.
Okay.
He's not even sure Santa Claus is real. Why am I going to make up some other concept or ideas? I just want him to be like, yeah, I have a penis. I need to soap it, and wipe my butt. Like, so
I think it's a really challenging scenario. I mean, at the end of the day, do you have a front tail or not? And right, like I mean, that's how it was kind of presented to me.
Bryce, there's a point.
Did you see
his face?
Best thing, Savan glancing at the live chat immediately. As soon as he said it, his eyes.
Let me see.
His eyes just like
It's
darted
so
over.
cringy. Oh man, it hurts.
So
I think it's a really
Watch his eyes.
challenging scenario. I mean, at the end of the day, do you have a front tail or not? And right, like I mean, that's how it was kind of presented
There it
to
is.
me.
Bryce, there's a point.
Oh my god. Like,
By the way, do you guys say scenario or scenario?
Scenario.
Scenario.
I can't stand it when people say scenario or schedule.
Well, he says Spikowski, so what do you expect?
Well, I say both of those.
Scenario, but like
I say both of
right,
those. It's not the language thing.
any American
Yeah.
that says scenario, I want to punch you in the face.
I say garage. I say schedule.
Yeah, that's fine. I expect that. Right. But it's when we pretend to say it a different way because
not America.
It's fucking America. Like put some never mind.
Put some what in that? Go ahead.
Nope. That's when when you click end stream,
Okay, we'll finish off with best quote. So what have you guys got for that?
We just saw mine. That was mine. Right?
Front tail. So that's yours. Okay, so Bill, what have you got?
Mine would be honestly what I feel has been a crazy year, whether it's CrossFit Games or CrossFit or whatever. My quote of the year, just because it is really, it's more the sound of it more than anything, but the AI version of Jada Coons saying, I don't know.
CrossFit affiliates.
CrossFit, yeah.
Oh well.
Any of those.
Are we able to pull that up?
I need to go back. I need to go back and look at myself in that moment because that's the thing about the fucking live chat. When you have a show like that, he typed, "Oh well," like asterisk Jada Coon's voice,
yeah.
and I looked down and saw it pop up, and I was like Don was mid sentence, and I knew he was coming to the end of the sentence, and I was like, "Shit, I'm gonna have to talk in a second, and I'm not going to be able to." Okay, I have.
Owners. I want to introduce myself. My name is Jada Coons, and I think CrossFit is dangerous. Word on the street is all you affiliate owners out there needed to take your level 1 certification to even be considered for our brand. I couldn't believe it when I, the former CEO of the Bar Method, was accepted into my new position, because despite all my credentials, I do not possess the one thing required of all 13,000 of you. Oh, well, I guess the old saying really is true. It doesn't matter what you think, because anyone's mind can be changed depending on how many zeros they add to your paycheck. That said, I no longer think CrossFit is
It's so good. Like, it's so good.
And it's in that AI voice.
That AI voice.
And the face with the
ridiculous.
And I love the fact that those things become canon for Hiller then, like where they'll just randomly pop up in videos that have nothing to do with what he's talking about, but it'll just be like, "Hello, CrossFit affiliates."
And for Jane too, that was a good question when you were talking about Don. Is like, hey, how did that go with everybody in the same room together?
Yeah, because I had heard that. I had heard they were together, and I was like,
"Yeah,
imagine the atmosphere just being sucked out of that room." Of just like,
I will say this for Jay is like he has taken all of this incredibly well.
The fact that he's still there, like he outlasted, like Grau's gone, couldn't hack it, obviously, like we assume. This guy, the fact that he came through all that and is still like, can you imagine going into like a meeting with affiliate owners knowing that they've all seen a video of you with AI saying, "Hello, CrossFit affiliates."
2 weeks later, he was at our summit.
Yeah,
and I was like, man, Like you got some balls, dude. I'll give you that.
Yeah, that's crazy. Chase, what's yours?
Oh,
Mine is going to get me into so much trouble.
okay. So mine is like sappy though. So this is
Okay.
Shocker.
anyway. Right. Exactly. I'm just it's like so.
Did you
like,
send
I'm
me
a
yours,
big-
or am I imagining it?
Send it to you.
Okay, sorry.
So my favorite quote of the year, because this hit me pretty hard on the broadcast, and I feel like every year I cry on the broadcast.
Every year.
Every year, there's a moment, right? This was my moment, and it was the second to last event of the games. Roman was doing double unders on one foot, and he gets interviewed by Mike Arsenault, who is hands down the greatest.
Oh, he's so good.
He's like, I wish he did all of them.
Yeah.
Like he is unbelievable, and it's not even close. And yeah, and when he's talking about like why even come out here, and when Roman says, I want to be a hero for my son, right, and have him see me fight to the end. For me, that just hit home because like I'm a daddy's boy. Like I revere my father as a real life superhero. I still to this day, like ever since I was a kid, and I've always wanted to live up to that.
Coliseum floor at the
just listen to it when I have
CrossFit Games. What was it like coming out here with your injured foot and having the crowd behind you, your competitors behind you, as you approach the last part of that test all by yourself on the floor?
Просто хочу быть героем для своего сына, чтобы он посмотрел.
A lot of Russian speakers in the crowd.
He wants to be a hero for his son. He just wants him to see him a fight to live.
Oh man,
Roman, this is one of the most emotional moments I've ever seen on the Coliseum floor.
Just gonna leave that there.
Yeah, I don't care if that's what he did.
Did he really say that?
But look, like that is when, like that's when I fell in love with Roman because, like, all right, the timing of the translation, whatever, I don't give a shit. Is like that dude broke down in the middle of it. Clearly, he was talking about his son.
Yeah.
And if you were in the building, everybody was emotional. It was very, very like hard.
It was intense. And now, like, just for everything that who I am and what I try to be for my son, like I hope one day my son reveres me in the same way as I do my dad. Like I just want it to be generational, that we just have strong men that we look up to. That was my favorite quote of the year. So
well, in a similar vein, a very similar vein, I'm just gonna play mine with no context. It's really similar to your one, actually.
I look like a fucking perfect parking garage for semen.
That's it. Just give it to you one more time.
Jeez. I look like a fucking perfect parking garage for semen. Like, does she aware of that? That she is just a cum magnet for men who want to have babies? That she is. I am.
Like, it's nuts that came out of his mouth. But it's just so, like,
no comment.
The audacity to say it out loud. Like
that's the thing, right? And there's the question is like, was that in the back of your head at all this time, or just like how do things just manifest and come out of Savant's mouth?
Oh, he doesn't think about that at all. He just tested on the top.
Exactly. I feel like it's not even on the tip of his tongue. It's just outside of his mouth, and he's just blowing it into the mic. Like if he didn't even know that he's saying that.
I'm pretty sure he says at another point. Maybe I'm misquoting him, but I'm pretty sure he says another, like soon after that he goes like, "I'm like, we didn't call anyone names." I'm pretty sure he follows it up with that. But he's just like, and later on in the same show, I think Hiller says something like, well, you called her like a cum dumpster, and Savannah's like, no, I didn't say that. That implies that it's in her. No, I'm not saying that. That's not what I'm saying. And it's like, it's just so good. Like the little nuance that he has in what he says, that it's like, no, you took it that way, but that's not what I meant. And that just plays perfectly into his thing of like, what people think and that they're stuck in their own heads and stuff. And I just thought a quote that summed him up perfectly was just that one, because it's just so funny. Like, it's just, I just think
I
he's
love the way he
absolutely
looks at things. He's like this douche fucking whatever.
Douche
And then like,
nozzle.
Douche nozzle, that's
meet
his one,
that
isn't it?
person. Like, what are you talking about? I love that guy.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't say anything bad.
Yeah. No, he's in a league of his own. Well, that's it. Everybody's picked everything. Thanks to Brian, who came and left. Thanks to John. It's a pleasure having you on the show. You're going to come on one of the debates too, aren't you? And not the next batch of 9, but the batch of 9 after that. So this Wednesday, Bill is going to be back on this Wednesday, fresh after Christmas. It's going to be Bill Grundler, Matt Souza, and Pat Vellner.
Ooh.
On
Wow, that's a
Wednesday.
hot one. Shit. Okay.
Don't play favorites, Pedro.
So that's our first question is going to be: is John Young right? Yes or no? You got 60 seconds. So that's next Wednesday. There's 2 more sets of 3 after that. This is around the whiteboard Wednesday at noon PST and 3 GM or EST and 8 GMT. And there'll be 3 and then a semi-final, and then after that, this is me officially asking you, John, will you come on in the next batch of 9 after that?
If you'll have me, I'm good to go.
And please use the mic that cuts out when you get angry. Even if you change it on.
I'll probably have upgraded equipment by then, so I apologize. But I feel sorry for whoever you have me on here for. If it's a debate that I'm supposed to get animated for, I mean, I can't wait.
Yeah, I mean, you're saying that like I'm not deliberately going to pick topics that will get you fired up. John, thanks for coming on. It's been great. Chase and Bill are, as always, an annual thank you for coming back on. I'm so glad that we made this a thing.
Thanks for having us, dude.
It's great. Congrats on everything the 3 of you have achieved this year, and best of luck with next year, Chase and Bill, with the new open worldwide rankings format show that you're starting. That's
we got a name. We landed on it. We'll call it Inside the Leaderboard.
Nice. And that'll be like end of February, start of March, like coinciding with the.
It'll be after the first week, so we'll do it. The scores are officially due the Wednesday after that Monday due date is when they're all finalized. So we'll probably do a Wednesday afternoon show in prep for the Thursday open release. So it'll roll right into each open workout. So
are you gonna have a whole bunch of like guests on like you did? Like
I'd love that.
Tell everybody, you know what I mean? Just have a big. What do you think?
Yeah, it'll be a big.
The more of the group that we could pull in, I think the more fun it would be.
10 squares. Right? Is that the max?
Do you remember Brady Bunch? Just have it around.
We'll put a link out. And just like whoever wants to show up can show up.
Do you remember the time that I think I was on the show and there was 6 people on the games update show and it was a fucking shit show. It was such a nightmare. Like nobody could get a word in. Yeah. So yeah, maybe just keep it to 1 at a time. But yeah, best luck to the 2 of you and help him with that. And John, continued success with your spin stints and your inevitable semi-finals appearance.
It's inevitable
as an analyst. Thanks everybody for watching as well, and donations and all that kind of stuff. Really appreciate it. Make sure you like the video and subscribe. I've actually never said that on the show before, so make sure you like and subscribe.